Welcome back to episode 159 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. Whenever you're listening to this, I might be the first person or I might be the millionth person to tell you Merry Christmas. It is our Christmas show spectacular, I guess you could call it. As you can tell, Kyle and I are dressed for the occasion here. Um, Last year it was actually a coincidence. We
Hmm.
both showed up and we just happened to both be in our sweaters. Like we did not plan it whatsoever. This year we did plan it like 2 weeks ago. Like, hey, the week of Christmas, let's just come in here in our Christmas sweaters and stuff because we both have it. And I think we both discovered last year that we both had our teams. So, um, Merry Christmas! It is the week of Christmas. We will have our Christmas list at the end here. I'm very excited to see what is on our Christmas list, and as our teams are concerned. I'm not talking about you know regular life and stuff because it's something different. But we have trades, we have signings, we have WBC. I think the off season is actually in full effect now. Guys are starting to sign left and right, and you're starting to see with some of these guys that they're not waiting for Bo Bichette, Kyle Tucker. Screw you guys. I'm signing with a team. So um, we have all that. But before we get into everything, Kyle, how are you doing today? And I don't know why my voice is starting to disappear right now.
I'm doing good, man. Yes, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, the whole nine yards. Yeah, no, I thought it was kind of funny last year because exactly what we're wearing is the same exact thing. It's just obviously Yankees and Dodgers. It's literally completely the same to a T. So I kind of think that's hilarious. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. I'm a teacher, so I'm off of work for the next 2 weeks, which is amazing. You know, the huge perk of my job. Absolutely love it. So I rotted on my couch this morning playing PlayStation. That's exactly what I did. My first day off, and yeah, it was spent rotting on my couch playing PlayStation. So so far so good. Doing good, man. I can't complain. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. The festivities have just begun. Had a Christmas party over the weekend. Very nice. Probably going to continue into the week. I don't know. Christmas is kind of weird this year because it lands on a Thursday. Like Christmas Eve is Wednesday, which it'll be here like when you blink. It'll be Christmas Eve, and then obviously Christmas Day Thursday. So um a short week for my parents at least working, so that's nice. They get to relax a little bit too this week. And yeah, this week is gonna fly by fast, man, because it's like I said, before you know it, it's gonna be Christmas Eve, and then it'll be Christmas morning. But um doing well, and um I'm actually excited to share this with you because we have not had this in a couple years here in Southern California. We
Okay.
are expecting a wet Christmas this year, believe it or not.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it is expected to rain pretty much this entire week. I'm talking starting tomorrow,
Shit.
Wednesday, all day Thursday, and even Friday, and then we'll go back to the normal weather here. But it has actually been, I think, since 2021, I think was the last time we had rain for Christmas. So it's been a little bit, but I don't know why I'm actually looking forward to that this year. Usually um it's like, mid 60s and it's, sunny, but getting the wet weather and rain, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that to some reason. So, um very excited for that, and hopefully everybody stays dry and stays safe. Southern California, because like I said, when it rains, it seems like everybody forgets how to drive. But
Oh yeah.
um, oh well. But to answer your question, I'm doing well, and hopefully you get what you want for this Christmas. Everybody out there listening, and it doesn't have to be a gift. It can. I've actually, as I've gotten older, as I've gotten older, and I've, you know, learned more, and I'm not such a heartless prick. I've actually come to learn and realize that it actually is nice to give people a gift sometimes.
Oh
Like
yeah. Absolutely.
it's. I know it's the season of giving, and it took me a long time to actually realize that. And I think actually this year was the most I've spent, I think, on gifts for people this year. I think,
Okay.
like in terms of amount. Actually,
Yeah.
I think I broke my own record this year. So I'm very excited. I'm actually very proud of myself for that because before it was like, well, what's in it for me? So, but but anyways, we'll touch more upon that as we get into our list and stuff. But just to get this episode started here, we have trades, we have signings, we have WBC news as these teams are starting to take shape even more. But we'll touch on that a little bit later. Um, we're gonna touch on the first signings and some trades. Kyle was made me a nice list here. List here, Jesus. We're like, okay. So before we get into this, it is currently 11:11 a.m. Make a wish. We're not in high school anymore, but you get the idea. Um, usually we do this like around what? I think it's one. I think or yeah, 1:15 my time, 4. Jesus, I'm
450.
half asleep. 4:15 your time.
Yeah.
I don't know why this 2 hour difference is really screwing with me here. I for some reason I can't talk right now. But
It's messing with me too, man. It's a little bit different than what we're used to.
yeah, but it's okay. We'll power through it. But anyways, um, we got some trades here that we want to discuss. I'm gonna touch upon this first just because it's the most recent one. Um, Wilson Contreras going from the Cardinals to the Boston Red Sox. How about it? I mean, I listen. I didn't even know he was available. To be honest with you, um, it's also funny because every time I see like a trade or a signing go down of significance, the first tweet I see is from a damn Mets fan that has the Fire Stearns meme template or something. Um, yeah, Wilson Contreras going to the Red Sox. I like it. Red Sox have been kind of quiet a little bit this offseason. I think some fans were expecting them to be more in on, Kyle Schwarber and some of these other guys, but they make a trade here and I like it. I like it. It addresses a need. Um, it seems like he's playing more first base this day. I'm sure he can play catcher once in a while, but it seems like he's kind of, as he's getting older, he's transferring more into a DH first base role. But I really like this trade. It addresses a need for the Red Sox and makes their offense a little bit better. Makes their offense a little bit better here, and that's always what you need. And man, this AL East is starting to load up a little bit, man. It's crazy. When we do our draft next year,
Mhm.
we're gonna have loaded teams here because it seems like all the good players are going to the American League East. So, but to
Yeah.
put a bow on it for me, I like this trade and addresses a need for the Red Sox.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny how you mentioned all the good players are going to the AL East, except for New York, right? And Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner want to
They're
they just
asleep.
want to play. Yeah, they're asleep. They want to go under the radar,
They
but no,
they overdosed on eggnog.
I think that's what happened. Man. Something happened. I don't know what the hell it was, but something happened. Um, yeah, no. So as far as the trade goes, Wilson Contreras going to the Red Sox. I like this move for Boston. You get a a plus side bat that still can. I mean, it's so hard to say because he played in St. Louis, but I still think he's got plenty left in the tank. He still is an extremely solid bat, and that's kind of what Boston needs right now. As of right now, you don't have Bregman under contract. The rest of this team's extremely young, and Jaron Duran's name has been swooped up in these rumors. So this team's extremely young. You bring in some veteran leadership with Wilson Contreras. I think he fits Boston pretty well. He plays with the fire, which is pretty good. Like I said, he's a solid bat. He's probably going to play first base, given the fact that Casas is probably going to platoon first base with Casas, maybe DH here or there. But yeah, no, I think for Boston it's a good move. I like it. It brings another bat into that lineup that's already extremely young. Flipping on over to the St. Louis side, I like this deal a lot for St. Louis because you're getting Hunter Dobbins, right? And I've seen a little bit of him last year, and he has plus side in pitching. He really does, and that's what St. Louis has been missing out on, especially getting rid of Sonny Gray and kind of taking those big contracts off of the books. So for the fact that you get a guy like Hunter Dobbins back in return, I think he has a lot of plus side. So I like that for St. Louis, and I think honestly, the kind of roundabout here in all of this to me is St. Louis is finally blowing it up. It's about time, right? This ownership group and the front office is finally understanding like, hey, we're not going to win anything with this group. We got to get rid of them. It seemed like they got rid of Goldschmidt last year. They were kind of on the fence whether they want to rebuild or not. It seems like everybody's on the table, man. I'm kind of counting down the days until Donovan gets traded. That's
Dodgers.
kind of what it seems like. Yeah, honestly, to me personally, I like the fact of like building around Mason Wynn and uh, potentially Burleson and guys like
Jordan
that.
Walker.
Yeah, Jordan Walker, depending on how much he still has left in the tank. I mean, he
Yeah.
was a prospect that kind of hasn't panned out too far, but I hope he does. I still think he has a lot of upside. Um, I still think Nolan Gorman, Brendan Donovan, I think those guys are probably going to be on their way out. But when I look at this team, I like what they have as the young pieces go. I think Mason Wynn is an extremely good ball player, and if you can build around him, get some pitching in there, I like this Cardinals team in a few years. So I'm glad that they finally chose to blow the damn thing up. Nolan Arenado is probably going to be out of there too soon. Um, yeah, going on to the next big trade that I want to talk about here
Sure.
is the three-team trade with Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, and Houston. Man, Pittsburgh, I like it. I like this a lot for Pittsburgh. Um, I'm looking at the return, right? You get Mason Montgomery, Jake Mangum, I think is how you pronounce his last name, and then the headliner piece of all of this is Brandon Lau. I like this a lot. I really do. I'm hoping that this isn't just their way of trying to keep Paul Skeens as a pirate, but you got to get a little bit more firepower for that. But I'm looking at this trade right now, and I love what Pittsburgh did. They gave up. They gave up. It looks like Mike Burrows is who they gave up in this trade. Okay, so Mike Burrows is a guy. I believe he's a pitcher who probably has a bunch of years left of control, 5 years or so. But I'll kind of run down the list and then give my thoughts about the other two teams. But I still think the Pirates won this trade by a huge margin. I already said the Pirates return. You go to Houston, you get Mike Burrows. So Mike Burrows is going to Houston. He's a pitcher who has, I believe, I saw a report that he has like 6 years of control left. So for the Astros, they're trying to get controlled arms. I'm guessing, give up some pieces here and there to try to get younger, which is what this trade does. Tampa Bay, they are getting the Astros number 2 and 7 prospects. Jacob Melton and Anderson Brito. I heard Tampa Bay was really in love with Jacob Melton, which is the headliner of Tampa Bay's return. I have two quick points on this, and then I'll let you say your thoughts. Number one, I think the Astros gave up absolutely way too much. I don't know what the hell they were thinking in this trade. It just doesn't make sense. How are you going to give up your 2 and 7 prospects and only get a controlled arm in return? I'd have to look up his stats, but Mike Burrows doesn't seem like a guy who you're going to give up your 2 and 7 prospect for. And my second point, Tampa Bay doing it again. I mean, this is what they do. This is their bread and butter of the way they play baseball. They squeezed every bit that they could out of Brandon Lau, and now they're shipping him off to Pittsburgh, and they're going to do the exact same things with Jacob Melton and Anderson Brito. The Astros are pretty good when it comes to a farm system, so I'm sure Tampa Bay loves what they got in return in this trade. But winners to me is definitely Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. If you want to, 2 and 7 prospect, I think it's pretty good. And the headliner of all this to me is like, what the hell are the Astros doing? It just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, those are my kind of 2 cents on this trade. It was definitely something to really think about.
Yeah, I really like how aggressive the Pirates have been this off season. Of course, you know, I think I mentioned it a couple minutes ago, but they, and even earlier in this off season, they were very close to getting Schwarber from the Phillies.
Hmm.
And from the reports that they actually gave him a pretty decent contract. It wasn't just this, oh, here we're gonna give you a 2 year, below average AAV, and here you go. Like, we'll just to make you an offer. No, they apparently almost blew him out of the water, and they almost was able to get him away from Philadelphia. But it's amazing what your star pitcher, what a star player can do. Because he hasn't, obviously Paul Skeens is not the GM or the president of baseball operations or anything like that, but he's your star player. He's your franchise right now. And I like when players, especially in baseball, because yeah, I know you hear a lot of it in basketball, and I know it probably turns a lot of people off on the sport, but I like when players are openly saying, "Hey, this is unacceptable, and we need to be better, and I want to win." You heard
Mhm.
that with Shohei Ohtani a couple off seasons ago when he was with the Angels in his final season. Um, you kind of heard it with Paul Skeens. Not, he didn't fully say, "Hey, he didn't fully say, "Hey, we got to get better and bring better pieces in here." He basically said, "I want to win. I want to win, and I want to do it here in Pittsburgh." So, that was kind of the first kind of cracks of like, "Hey, like you have to start doing things here." You know, even if it's like missing out on a Kyle Schwarber. All right, cool. At least you're offering contracts. You're showing the club that you're willing to spend the big money. And this trade, I really like it. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't know what the Astros are doing. Um, and with Tampa Bay, they're just going to turn these guys into top-notch players and then trade them too in a couple years.
Yeah.
So, um, but overall, I think everybody won in this trade except the Astros. But um, I mean, the Astros know what they're doing too.
Mhm.
I know, they're a smart run organization. I know it didn't really reflect on it this year because they missed the postseason, but um, this is a good trade all around, and kind of broke out of nowhere. Where when you see trades, you're expecting it to see from these big market teams like the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets, and I think we were all waiting for that last week because, of course, the big rumor was, oh, okay, the Mets and the Padres are going to do this big trade with Vientos and maybe Bogarts. No, it's with the Pirates, Rays, and the Astros. Three teams you're probably not thinking about this offseason much, but that was a blockbuster deal.
Mhm.
And I'm very anxious and excited to see how these uh, parts work out. And I know you're probably happy that Brandon Lowe's out of your division because he's a pain in the ass. And you saw with the Rays that he's a good player and he's been an all-star, and I'm excited to see how he is in Pittsburgh now in a more hitter friendly ballpark, I guess you can say. You
Mhm.
know.
Yeah,
So
and Brandon Lau is one of those guys. He flies under the radar very,
yeah.
very quickly. I mean, so many of these guys who play for Tampa Bay usually do. Um, Brandon Lau, I mean, he's been a thorn in the Yankees side for quite some time now. And for the fact that he's out of the division, it's pretty good for me. I mean, I can't say enough about him. I think he's a prolific hitter with plus side bat and he plays a gold glove second base and he plays multiple positions. He's very versatile, and for a team like the Pirates, I think he fits perfectly in there. He's a veteran guy who can go in there and kind of take that leadership role. And I, I I think that's no difference than what he was doing in Tampa Bay. So the transition should be smooth for him and good for him. And it seems like the Rays are kind of just going through their every so many years they got to trade out these guys to bring new ones in, and that leads us to our second trade of the Tampa Bay Rays with Shane Baz going to Baltimore. Um, yeah, this one it makes sense for Baltimore in my opinion. It makes sense, right? So that pitching staff, it's obviously has some holes in it, and they're already been big winners in my opinion this offseason. So you're bringing in a guy like Shane Baz who he's had some injury problems as of late, which I think has held him back a little bit. But when you look at this guy, I mean, he has a career 4.25 ERA, 3.1 WAR. Um, yeah, he's just that solid middle of the rotation kind of guy, right? Two on a pretty staff, but like a three or a four on a pretty good staff. And that's kind of what he was in Tampa Bay. And he showed flashes of being extremely good. And I think that's what Baltimore's hoping to get out of this guy. So I like the move for Baltimore. I don't have the return for Tampa Bay. I do know it was prospects. Um, I believe it was actually some pretty big name prospects. I think it was four prospects in total. I think two of them were in Baltimore's top 10. So overall, I think that's a pretty damn good trade for Tampa Bay. I thought it was a little hefty on the prospect side, which is what Tampa Bay wants, right? And Baltimore, you're going to be willing to pay that price because you have a good farm system, number one. And number two, you need controlled arms in that pitching rotation. And that's what you get from Shane Baz, hoping that he bounces back from injury and he can finally find himself in Baltimore. So I think it's a good trade for both sides. It addresses needs on Tampa Bay's side and on Baltimore's side. So overall, good all around trade for both of these teams.
And the last trade I want to touch upon, and then we'll start jumping into the free agents too a little bit here. How about the Phillies and the Royals making a trade over the weekend? You know, Matt Strom going to Kansas City and Jonathan Bowen going to the Phillies. Um, this trade for me makes sense for both sides. You know, you're you're getting for the Phillies. You're getting rid of an older kind of arm in Matt Strom. You know, you're getting money off the books. I believe it was like $7 or $8 million that's coming off the books next year
I say that
for a
contract.
yeah for for um for a player with Jonathan Bowen who's a little younger, has more control, and for the Royals, I mean, hey, that's a pretty good back end of the bullpen there. Now you're gonna have Strom and you're gonna have Carlos Estevez back there closing your game, so that's a pretty good 1-2 punch back there. So makes sense for both sides and you kind of saw it in the last couple of years with the Phillies that Matt Strom was kind of starting to get a little unreliable there, especially in the postseason. He gave up some big hits, you know, Vientos, Teoscar Hernandez. You kind of saw some slippage in the cracks there, and that was pretty much the whole reason why the Phillies had to go get, you know, Duran at the trade deadline, just because they felt that Strom is a good setup guy, but not for a closing role. So that's why they went out and got Duran in the at the deadline last July. But overall, I like this trade. It helps address both need for the Phillies, get younger, get a little bit younger, get guys with other a little bit more control, and for the Royals, hey, improve, make a
Yep,
push. You know, again, we've said it all along. This American League Central is not that good. You saw that last year. You saw that last year. You saw this kind of, you know, not that great Guardians team put it together in the final month, and they were in the postseason. And you saw a Tigers team that we thought was going to be better collapse at the end. So, um, I like it. Makes sense for both sides to me.
yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of just piggyback because you said everything perfectly. Number one, I heard that there was reports rumbling that Matt Strom in the Phillies clubhouse was getting a little wary. So I think that's kind of what really kind of drove the final nail in the coffin for Matt Strom and his Philly career. Moving over to KC, just kind of saying what you were saying about like the AL Central being wide open. I mean, listen, this is a team that's pretty good. Listen, I've been waiting on this team. You and I were high on them like 2 years ago, and I was high on them last year. They kind of disappointed me. Um, I need to see more in the offseason. I love the moves they've done so far. Matt Strom, and I believe there were a few other moves in there that they did, but it makes sense for their team, right? And if you go get Jaron Duran, I think that makes you pretty. It makes you competitive in the AL Central. I'm not saying win the AL Central, but I am saying it makes you extremely competitive for that number one seed.
In competitive in the AL Central, that could mean you win the division.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't want
competitive
to.
and
Yeah,
competitive in these other divisions doesn't mean much. Like, all right, cool, yeah, sure, maybe you'll finish over 500 and maybe in third place, but competitive in the American League Central, that means hey, you could win this damn division.
absolutely. And if Jaron Duran seems like that kind of bat that will do that for Kansas City. You pair him with Pascantino. You pair him with Bobby Witt Jr. and Michael Garcia, who you just extended. Um, yeah, no, seriously, I think Jaron Duran to KC would be a phenomenal fit. So overall, good trade for both sides.
And now jumping into these free agents, we got a pool of them to choose from. Um, which one do you want to start with? You got more Yankees that are going to the Mets.
Yeah,
Um, I'm telling you, man, as the weeks go on here, the Mets continue to whiff on free agents.
Yeah, a little bit.
Except, well, obviously, Luke Weaver, but
Yeah,
um,
I'll start with let's go with the oldest signing out of all of them. We'll go with Hassan Kim going back to Atlanta. It makes sense, right? Hassan Kim, I still think he has potential upside, right? I liked what he did in San Diego and then Tampa Bay. I think that he paired with his injuries and not really having established home, right? He was in Tampa Bay and we knew that he wasn't going to be there long. So I'm hoping with this deal in Atlanta and a full healthy season, I think it's a good sign for both sides. And I still think the Braves are going to be better this year than what they were last year. I think last year was a complete fluke. This year I see them gunning out with the rest of the NL East. So I like this move overall. It's one of those good moves for both sides that gives Kim a chance to establish some ground and it gives Atlanta a good infielder.
yep, absolutely. Going to the next one, Jordan Romano, Angels. Again, this is you need pitching. I get it. Um, didn't kind of was bounced around a little bit last year, but um, 2-4 had an over 80 ERA. Wasn't great, but still, like Angels need pitching, and I get it, and I think they can believe they can turn them around. So I get it. You know, I don't the Angels. I mean, you're not going to be swimming in the big pond. So
Mm,
you kind of have to go with these other little signings and kind of hope they hit. That's what all this is. You're kind of hoping that some of these guys bounce back, and seems like their Angels are going to be taking on multiple projects this coming season because you have Grayson Rodriguez too that they traded. I think they traded for, if not they
yes.
signed. And then obviously now you're going to have Jonah Romano with the Angels. So the Angels are going to have multiple projects here that they believe that they can fix. So
Yeah.
very interested to see that.
Absolutely, and I will also say too, like you're gonna need some of these pitching arms to kind of pan out a little bit because now you have Taylor Ward in Baltimore in the Grayson Rodriguez deal. So I mean, you're gonna be losing some offense there. Taylor Ward, yeah, he might not be this big flashy name, but you got to remember this is the Angels we're talking about. This is a guy who has been with the Angels for years and was always an offensive contributor, not so much anymore. So now you've really got to hope out some of these pitchers kind of pan out. So this move makes sense for both sides.
Luke Weaver going to the Mets. That disappointed a lot of Yankee fans. I'm gonna shut up, Kyle. What are your thoughts?
um, yeah. So I didn't expect Luke Weaver to come back. He had his fairy tale with the Yankees already. Listen, it was a good story. It really was. I mean, Luke Weaver was basically almost out of the league when he signed with the Yankees. And the Yankees do what the Yankees do best. And I will give them their flowers for this. They turn these relievers into all stars and really elevate their Yankees careers with being relievers. The Yankees are extremely good at that. So it makes sense for Luke Weaver um, to get a nice payday out of this. I just knew that it wasn't going to be with the Yankees. I should have known it was going to be with the Mets because this is what the Mets have been doing all damn offseason and for the last couple of years. They take up our scraps and then they sign them to these deals and and hope that they can replicate what they did with the Yankees. And I mean, we see it. Their back end of the bullpen is exactly what the Yankees were last year. Your setup guy is Luke Weaver, and then you have Devin Williams closing out games. It didn't work for the Yankees last year. I don't know if it's going to work for the Mets, maybe, but I don't see it. Yeah, so Luke Weaver, I would have liked to have him back. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a pretty good reliever. He did come into some trouble last year. He lost the closer role again. It seemed like everybody was losing closer roles. Um, but it seemed like his time in New York kind of just, well, with the Yankees, kind of just fizzled out. The Yankees kind of squeezed everything they could out of him, so they let him walk. I would have liked to see him back on a probably 1 to 2 year deal. I don't know, maybe a couple million a year. Probably wouldn't have gone over 4.5 million a year, give or take. And that was not the case. he signed a 2-year, $22 million deal with the Mets. The Mets continue to allocate money into all aspects of their team, and Luke Weaver's no different. So I don't blame him. I mean, he's getting paid $11 million a year for the next 2 years. It's a pretty good setup role. So props to Luke Weaver, and the Mets just keep signing the Yankees. A bunch of former Yankees. So we'll see where it goes, but this one doesn't shock me.
Um, Trying to decide where to go here because you have the Padres that made two signings. One of them bringing back Michael King, and then of course signing. I'm gonna try and say his name here. All right, here we go. Let's try this. Uh, S- Damn it. Uh, Sung Min Song. See that. See, I'm basically. You see that? That's an expert right there. Out of the KBO. Um, I get it. I like it for Michael King. Now, I did not think that he was going to be back with the Padres. We made a graphic that actually did pretty well. I think it was last week or if not the week before, of like, hey, Michael King is going to be. He's like in the final stages of picking a team. Um, I'm trying to search for it as I talk here, but the three teams that we had, I believe, was Baltimore,
Yep.
a reunion with the Yankees, and I'm not sure what the third team was. It might have been. Oh, here we go. The Red
Awesome.
Sox. Yep, the Red Sox. And he went to none of them. He actually went back to the team that we posted him in the graphic with. He actually went back to the Padres. San Diego, I get it. You need pitchers, man. You need starting pitching. That was the big problem um, last season. Now for Michael King, hopefully he can stay healthy. That's been the big problem so far. Kind of transferring from um, out of a bullpen into a starter. And the other player, Hosing, Jesus, say it slow, Song Min Song. Yeah, um, I get it. You know, you kind again, Padres are not going to be spending the big money on these guys, so it's kind of like what the Dodgers did with Hae-Sung Kim last year. Kind of gave us a little bit of a spark. There was a moment there with the Dodgers where he kind of gave us a little spark, and I did get hurt. I think the Padres are trying to do the same thing here with this. So, um, a lot of guys have come. A lot of guys that have come from Korea over to the United States have actually transformed very well, and I think the Padres believe that they can do it again. So I get it.
Yeah.
Padres not quiet again this. They're not going quiet this year. That was one of the big questions marks I had. Because as this offseason has continued to go along here, it's like, well, what are the Padres gonna do? Like they kind of like obviously they're looking to sell. The Seidler family is looking to sell the team while all this other financial problems are going on with the team. And then here they are, they're still making moves like re-signing Michael King and signing players internationally. So seems like the Padres are not going to be quiet this offseason.
Yeah, no. I'll start with Michael King. I'm extremely happy for him. I mean, he got a pretty good deal. 3 years, 75 million, I believe, is what it was. Um, Michael King has always been like when he came up with the Yankees. I knew he was going to be a good pitcher. He was a damn good arm out of the bullpen for us, and then he kind of transitioned over to that to the starter role before he got traded. And I was hoping for a reunion. I really was. I mean, having Michael King back into this rotation, especially when your top three guys in the Yankees rotation is going to be missing time with injury, they won't be back till May, June area. So the Yankees are going to have to cover some ground with pitching. And Michael King would have been the perfect guy in my opinion. And for this contract, I would have gave him another year. I would have gave him another 25 million. That's the kind of pitcher that Michael King is. So I'm extremely happy that he got paid. Um, and he must like it in San Diego, enough to go back. So I'm happy for him, and the rest of his family as well. Now, looking into their second signing, Sung Moon Song, yeah, I mean, it's basically like these West Coast teams. The Dodgers and Padres are really going crazy with the international free agent market, and hey, I don't blame you, especially for this guy. Um, he had a slash line last year of 315, 387, 530, and a career high in home runs. He had 26 homers last year in the KBO. He played 144 games, so he's durable. He's a really good contact hitter, and he's got some pop in the bat. Um, he kind of reminds me of like a prime DJ LeMahieu in a way, giving me flashes of when he was with the Yankees. I mean, yeah. So I mean, just looking at that slash line and his numbers, it makes sense. Now, the only like the big question is never talent with these guys because clearly the talent's there. The question is, can they replicate what they were doing overseas in Major League Baseball? Pitching's different. Pace of game is different. Like
Strike zone is different.
everything is different. So it's just a matter of if this guy can translate his skill set over because the talent's there. This guy's a damn good hitter. He's an extremely well contact hitter, batting over 300, and he has some pop in the bat, and he's durable. That's what the Padres need. So good overall deal. I mean, it's very easy to take a waiver on a guy like that. So congrats to him and good on the Padres.
Speaking of guys that kind of have some question marks of if they can play here in Major League Baseball, let's get to the big signing yesterday. That damn it again, I was the last person to find out because it happened early Sunday morning when I woke up. There was like 60 notifications on my phone. I'm like, damn it, he signed. Um, all right, here we go. I'm gonna try it. I should have listened to MLB Network too before this, but I have it right here. Mutaka Murakami. I got Murakami right. I know that, but the
Yep,
first name is kind of throwing me off. Mutaka Murakami. I think that's how you say it. I'm
there you
probably
go.
wrong, but
That's pretty
um,
good.
thank you. He signed a 2 year, $34 million deal with the Chicago White Sox. How about it? Um, there was a rumor because okay, so when a guy's coming overseas from like Japan, Korea, wherever, they have to get posted. And when they get posted, you have a certain window of when they can sign, which I wish they would do that for the rest of the free agents here. But um, so he had until today, Monday, December 22nd, 5 Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central to sign with a club. And there was a big rumor that came out, I think it was Friday night, if not Saturday, before the weekend, that hey, the White Sox are actually pursuing him and they're very aggressive on trying to get him. I saw it. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like he's probably just gonna go to one of these other big market teams here. But damn it, I should have put money on Price Picks because I would have been right and actually would have won some change here. But um, I like it for the White Sox, man. I like it. You know, this is when it's a contract like that. When it's a 2 year, $34 million deal, I'm sorry, but all 30 teams should be in on that. I'm sorry, they should be. But for the White Sox, I like it. I'm glad they were being aggressive here. I'm glad they because you kind of some of these other teams, you know, like the Dodgers re-signed Max Muncy. Some of these other guys are doing some other moves. You were kind of playing it out, and it's like I don't know where this guy's gonna sign. Like, what team has the room to bring on a player like this? And obviously, there was a lot of concerns of again, can he hit the high velocity in America? You know, can his game translate to Major League Baseball? Um, so that's kind of why, like, maybe teams were not all that interested in him, like we thought they were going to be, like maybe 1 or 2 years ago. Um, so for the White Sox, it makes sense, and they slowly, the White Sox, kind of have something going here a little bit with this team. I posted their lineup yesterday. You know, you got Teo, Montgomery, Vargas, Benintendi. I think they're going to shop Luis Robert Jr. this year. You're going to have Murakami in there, Baldwin. It's not bad. It's not a bad lineup. So um, I like the White Sox being aggressive here and signing a guy from Japan, and hopefully he works out. And I like that he's gonna go. I know Chicago's a big market, but obviously the White Sox are not that good right now.
Mhm.
But to me, there's no pressure on him to perform right away here. You know, it's just hey, You're going to the White Sox. You're not going to the Cubs. You're not going to the Dodgers. You're not going to the Yankees, not the Mets, where, teams like that kind of need you to perform right away. With the White Sox, he can kind of develop into his own a little bit. I know it's a 2 year deal, but and if he has a breakout year in one of these 2 year deals, he's going to be a free agent in 2 years. He's going to get a massive contract somewhere else. But for the White Sox, I like it. And you've already seen that he's kind of embraced Chicago. He had his um, introductory press conference today, and he actually showed him like a White Sox. So, and it seems like the fans are very excited. I saw jerseys that are starting to show up at the team store and all around the Chicago area. So, good for Chicago, man. Good for the South. Good for the South side of Chicago. Damn it. So, um, I like it, and I'm very interested to see how his game, specifically his power, can relate, can translate over here in America.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a guy who I have been extremely, um, like I've been very vocal about how I want the Yankees to sign this guy. And then when I saw the deal, I was like, damn, why couldn't the Yankees do that? So this guy, so Murakami's name, you really started hearing that name in the 2023
Yep.
World Baseball Classic. He put on a fucking show. This guy has some power, let me tell you. So, this guy's career stats in all levels of foreign ball, primarily in the NPB, he has slashed 273, 394, 550 with a total of 265 homers. Last year was a bit of a down year in his regard, but I'm gonna go back to his probably his best season. He batted 318, 458, 710 with 56 home runs. Okay, that was just 3 years ago in 2022. Um, this is a magnificent signing for Chicago. I can't say it enough. I absolutely love this move. Like I said, I really wanted the Yankees to be in on him, and then his market kind of dropped, and there was a chance that he wouldn't have his window would have closed, and then he would have went back to foreign ball. So I I really like this move for Chicago. They were aggressive. They saw him. Nobody else was taking him, and for that deal, man, I mean, it's a win-win because guess what? If he doesn't perform, you only have him for 2 years. If he does perform, you can either extend him long term, or if you really want to, you could get a trade package within these next 2 years for this guy because it's a 2 year deal. I mean, there's no wrong in this signing, and overall, I think it's a great signing, and it goes back to what I said about the Padres. It's not a matter of talent; it's a matter of if he can translate his game over. And I think Chicago is a pretty damn good spot to be able to work on your game in your own way and kind of fly under the radar because Chicago's not making any moves next year. Um, but I will tell you, I mean, like you touched on it. This team is slowly starting to come together. They have a lot of good young pieces there, and they're going to be able to flourish because they're going to get playing time. So we'll see how it all meshes together. But I like what the White Sox are doing, man. And Murakami, I mean, he comes in there and I could see him sliding into that 3 or 4 spot in the lineup, and we'll see what happens after that. But I'm gonna be tuning into White Sox games. I'll tell you that much. I'm very excited to see how this guy translates his game.
And hopefully White Sox fans too are now going to want to go to these games because obviously we've seen it the last couple of years. It's basically been empty over there in
Yep.
Chicago, and signing a guy like this can, hey, maybe bring some more fans out to the stadium. You saw a bunch of I saw people trying to get jerseys already, so
Yeah.
they're obviously excited about that, and that's what it's all about. And you know, we'll see. Hopefully, the White Sox get off to a better start this year and maybe get these fans kind of believing again a little bit. I'm not saying they're gonna make the postseason or anything like that, but just a sense in the right direction. Can we
Absolutely.
not lose 100 games next year again? Can we start with that? You know, maybe get a 10 more wins here and there, something like that. But
Absolutely.
let's get to WBC, man. We got some big, heavy hitters coming for Team USA, man. Tarek Skubal on the team. David Bednar on the team. Mason Miller on the team. I can't believe I got to root for him now. But um,
Joe Ryan as well in that
and Joe
pitching staff.
Ryan, yes, absolutely. This team is starting to come together. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. This team is slowly starting to come together. And listen, we said it last week. You know, the starting pitching was not that great.
Yep.
Come on, give me a screwball, give me a crochet, give me a snail, give me something. We can't. And listen, Joe Ryan's he's going to be a very good three starter in this tournament.
Oh yeah.
But we can't go in Skeens, Joe Ryan, and then everybody else. Had to have a number two in there. And
Hmm.
damn it, they did it with Tarek Skubal. So it got me hyped when I saw the news. Like I follow Tarek Skubal because he's going to be a Dodger soon, so I want to be ready for that announcement. So I was refreshing my Instagram feed and I saw him in the Team USA jersey. I'm like, no way, let's go, dude. We got a 1-2 punch now, and I am so glad. And this is from past tournaments that hey, like you saw it in 2017 when they won, and you saw it reflect on their roster in 23. If you can win, you're gonna have these guys that are gonna buy in and want to play. And again, I shout out to that 2017 team that won, and even to the 2023 team that yeah, they lost to Japan, but they might win in the end here. Like in terms of the long term, with this tournament, because we saw from the beginning that yeah, it's a cool tournament. You're playing for your country, but you saw that not a lot of the guys from America, the big name guys, wanted to go. You always saw it with the other countries, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, all these all these other countries, Colombia. But it was always a problem with Team USA to get their stars to go. And that team in 2017 didn't have a bunch of household names. Yes, they had Giancarlo Stanton, they had Buster Posey, Nolan Arenado. There were some big names in there, but it felt like it could have been better. But they still won, and that was the important thing. And it set up years of success here. We saw the 2023 team that fell to Japan, but you just seen that hey, if you can compete and if you can win and play good, you're gonna get some of these other guys on board. And you heard of everything coming out of that tournament 3 years ago that hey, that was freaking cool. I want to do that again. We gotta be better, and hopefully this 2026 team, if they can win, it's going to be because of past teams 2023 and specifically 2017. So you're starting to see that now with some of this with this team. Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, they want to do it. It's not completely done yet. This team still needs a first baseman. Max Muncy, can we give him a call, please? Like, come on, let's get some Dodgers in there. Um, Overall, though, this team is starting to come together. I like it, and I see the vision. I see the vision, and according to Mark DeRosa, there's still some more announcements that are coming. We're not done yet, apparently. So, um, we'll see. Mookie Betts is not going to do it, unfortunately. He's going to be giving um, birth to his another child in March. So, unfortunately, he will not be able to be there. Um, but overall, I love these moves, man. Dodgers, Jesus. It does sound like the Dodgers when I put it together, but this Team USA team is stacked. Their rotation is looking great, and the back end of that bullpen is looking good too now with Mason Miller, David Bednar. I like it, and I hope he does it because I'm gonna be so hyped if he does. We need another lefty, dominant lefty. Bring in Alex Vesia, man. Let's do it. Come on, man. They sent him an invite. Hopefully he accepts it and he can play for Team USA, man. Because I'm gonna be hyped if I see Alex Vesia on Team USA next March, man. That's gonna be so exciting. But hopefully, come on, man. Let's keep this bullpen going. Bring me Alex Vesia to come out of the bullpen for Team USA. But um, very good Team USA. It's starting to come together, and apparently we're not done yet with these announcements. So I'm very excited to see what else they do here.
Mookie, stay home. Don't worry. Aaron Judge is here. We're
Oh
good.
my God! All
We're
right.
good. We're good. No, but yeah, so Tarek Skubal and David Bednar, those are two huge additions to this WBC team. I'm super stoked for David Bednar being one of my guys. Shout out his uncle. I saw him at the airport.
Yeah.
Let's hope and pray that I see him again. We were on our way out to Arizona, and Matt and I we ran into David Bednar's uncle, so that was pretty damn cool. And full circle, he's a Yankee now, so shout out to him as well. But yeah, so David Bednar's in the back end of the bullpen. You have Terry Skubal. Terry Skubal was so needed, man. I mean, you have two aces in that rotation. Go ahead.
And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention him. They also got Logan Webb in there too.
Yes,
So
very
this
true.
rotation is stacked. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, you're good. I also forgot that Logan Webb announced. So as of right now, it's probably looking. I mean, you have 1A, 1B at the top of the rotation. Doesn't matter who you start with. You could go Skeens, you could go Skubal. After that, though, you have Joe Ryan and Logan Webb. That's a pretty good rotation. I am fucking pissed off at Max Fried, though. I'll tell you that much. Because if Max Fried accepted that invite, he would be in that rotation, and Joe Ryan would be our fifth starter in the World Baseball Classic, and I think that'd be a pretty damn good rotation. Um, but anyway, this team's starting to shape up, man. It looks pretty good. I'm very excited for the rest of the team, and it's going to be interesting because there might be a chance that Team USA goes into this World Baseball Classic with their lineup being their worst, you know, basically set of guys. So you have your rotation and you have your bullpen, but your lineup that might end up being the worst part about Team USA, which is wild to me. But depending on how this roster shapes out, it could be a thing. But super stoked to see both of these guys, all three of them, in the World Baseball Classic, and yeah, just extremely stoked for this tournament, and I cannot wait for March. It'll be here before we know
Absolutely, and this might have an opportunity to be um, one of, if not the best tournament out of all of them so far. I know we said that in 2023, but I think this one is gonna top it
it. I
because
think
of all the guys that are going and um, some of the locations too. Like they're going to Puerto Rico for the first time. Houston's gonna host it this year for the first time. Obviously, you have Miami and Japan in there too, but I really think that this tournament's gonna be the best one out of all of them. So, um, still need a first baseman. Now I know I said Muncy, but obviously I don't think that's gonna happen because I just want my Dodgers in there, and I think Muncy would do well. But I think your dream candidates for first: Pete Alonso, not again. Nick Kurtz from the A's, and of course Bryce Harper.
Mhm.
Where if it wasn't for injuries, I think he was gonna do it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So if we can get Harper in there, oh my god, it might be game over. Might as well just don't play the games. Game over.
I I would love to see Bryce Harper play in the World Baseball Classic. I mean, I that's dream scenario in my opinion is Bryce Harper at first. It's going to be interesting to see. There was something I was thinking about the other day. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of these lineup changes happen where Mark DeRosa wants to like play cute, get some subs in there, things like that, and start to move these guys around. Because I mean, a couple years ago, Kyle Schwarber was playing first base, and he played a damn good first base when he was with Boston. Um, so we'll see where it goes. I'm very interested to see how it plays out. But yeah, no, if we could get Bryce Harper in there, man, that would be almost top of what I'm of basically all the choices. I would also like to see Brian Buxton. He's a guy whose name's been flying around there a little bit, but
Yeah, he was supposed to do it. I don't know what happened.
yeah, I don't know, but we'll see where it goes. As of right now, I have a lot of faith in this team, man. I really do. He's not confirmed yet. He's on the preliminary roster, but he's just not confirmed.
Yeah, so there we go with the WBC. So there's your update, and apparently more to come. So we'll see what that is. But I'm very, very excited, and hopefully I can start dropping some merch here, man. I want to get some hoodies or something.
I
WBC hoodies.
can't wait, man.
All right, now we've gone through all that. Let's get to our final topic here, and we'll call it a day. Our Christmas list. Of course, we have a list with our teams. Now with me, you're gonna be like, oh fuck, what does he want? What more do you want from the Dodgers to give you for Christmas? Well, I think I have some, but Kyle, if you're ready, you can go first, or if you have anything, just
Okay.
I'm all ears.
So mine's very short and sweet. I tried to make this as realistic as possible. Obviously, I'm not going to come on here and say, yeah, let's trade for Shohei Otani. Let's trade Anthony Volpe for Shohei Otani one on one.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to be a little bit more realistic with what's left and the way I see the offseason to go for the Yankees. I don't see them going big game hunting. I really don't. Um, but this scenario, there's one guy who's still on the market who I want them to get. For me, number one on my Christmas list is signed Bo Bichette. Okay. I want,
All
I
right. I
want,
like
I
this. I
want,
like this.
yes, I want Bo Bichette to come in. Um, and in my opinion, I know there's been reports where he's going to be open to playing second base. To me, you don't move him to second base, you move him to shortstop. Okay. And then you have Jazz still at second. That is my middle infield of Bichette and Jazz. After that, I want the Yankees to trade for Stephen Kwan. I don't see Cody Bellinger coming back to the Yankees. I see him going to the Mets. And that's not just the Mets being the Mets. I actually think Cody Bellinger makes a fuck ton of sense for the Mets, and I don't see that not happening. So for me, trade for Stephen Kwan. You can give up a package with Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones, and then that be it. My last one, it's no big name. There's actually no name in general. I want another high end reliever. Okay. I don't care who it is, but I want another high end reliever to go into the bullpen. Uh, Coming with that is trading Anthony Volpe. So no matter if you put Anthony Volpe in a trade package for Stephen Kwan, or if you do it in for a high ended reliever or a pitcher, um, you trade Volpe, and then that's where Bichette moves into shortstop. So for me, my Christmas list is three parts: Bo Bichette, Stephen Kwan, and a high end pitcher, high end reliever. And that is my Yankees Christmas list for this year.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it.
Thank you.
Uh, all right. I'm gonna do the best I can here. I like. Listen, I'm not gonna just. I mean, we'll see here, but I think some of these are a little realistic. Now, I think the Dodgers are pretty okay right now where they're at, but of course, there's always room for improvement. So I'm gonna start off here with number one. My number one list, on my Christmas list for the Dodgers. Don't trade Teoscar Hernandez.
Okay, that makes sense.
Don't trade him. Please don't trade him. I understand. Again, I made a video about this a couple weeks ago. I know he's a bad defender. I know he's not getting any younger, but this guy delivers in the postseason. He's had so many big clutch moments with us. I can live with the average to below average defense if he continues to hit. Now, a year from now, if his bat starts to decline and his defense doesn't improve, then we can have the conversation. But don't do it this year. This team should be allowed to go for the three-peat again next season. Don't trade him. Don't do it. My second, my second thing on my list here: trade for another bat. Now I know I said that would. Now I know I said don't trade Teoscar Hernandez, but let's again. I'm gonna use the same thing as you. I want Steven Kwan. Now you're probably
Okay.
thinking, well, how is that gonna work? Because you're gonna have to trade somebody at some point. Trade for Stephen Kwan. I'm not part of the business decision, so figure it out. Trade for Stephen Kwan. Trade for a Donovan McNabb. Jesus. Brendan Donovan. Did I say Donovan McNabb? What the hell? Talking Eagles here now? Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Oh, that
Brendan
one caught
Donovan.
me off
That's
guard.
wow. Brendan Donovan. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, do that. Um, you kind of it can have putting in a Quan putting in a Donovan in the middle of that lineup can honestly extend this order a little bit more, um, in my opinion. Now, again, and Donovan and Quan can be like your they're good contact hitters. And I
Hmm.
think the Dodgers kind of lack that a little bit, especially at the top. It's a lot of feast or famine. Tawny, Betts. I know Freddie gets on base, but Teoscar, Muncy. You need somebody in there. And that was Tommy Edman in 2024. But I think we still kind of need a little bit more of that in the bottom of the order. So I think a Quan or a Donovan can fit very well in that lineup. And lastly, on my Christmas list, and I don't even know if this is like a shopping item. This is just a hope. I want a bounce back year from Tanner Scott. That's on
Mm.
my list. I think the pressure's off of him now. He is not going to be closing games anymore. Obviously, with Edwin Diaz now, the signing of Edwin Diaz, he's going to be slotted in there in that ninth inning. But my Christmas list, and who knows, it might be a Christmas miracle at this point, but um, I hope a bounce back season from Tanner Scott being in that seventh or eighth inning window. So again, I really don't have much because listen, Jesus, my team has won back to back championships. They're pretty loaded as it is. But if I had to kind of give my list, that's kind of that's it right there. And if you really want my greedy list, trade for Tarek Skubal. There's my greedy list right there. But
I was waiting for that to be on your list. I was very interested.
I just don't think that's now. Listen, Tarek Skubal is a great pitcher, and the Tigers should demand a lot for him.
Hmm.
There's some reason, man. The Dodgers, they like to hang on to these prospects, man. The top ones, and I think there's a couple in there that they're gonna say no to. Uh, Zaire Hope. I even think they'll say no to some of these other the starters that are in there, especially the Dodger rotation gets hurt a lot, and you're gonna need guys to step in and make starts. You're gonna need a Sheehan. You're gonna need um, a Jack Dryer. You're gonna need guys like that to come in and give you, a couple starts here and there. I think the Dodgers at the end of the day, would they love Tarek Schoolball? Sure, but I think they can wait for him when he hits free agency next year. Um, but for right now, I think they value their starters having like a 10-man rotation at this point.
Yeah.
You know, so and honestly, I think also too, I think some of these other like the Mets, I think they're going to be more aggressive for a guy like Tarek Schoolball. Some of these other teams are going to be a little bit more aggressive.
Hmm.
So
No,
there
that
you go.
makes
I
sense.
wasn't going to come on here and say, "Oh, sign Tucker, sign Bichette." Don't do that. Don't do that. But so there's your Christmas list. How about it?
There it is. And that brings us to the end of episode 159, and not only that, man, we have Christmas in a few days. It's been a hell of a year, let me tell you. Well,
Absolutely. It has been one hell of a year, and I'm very much looking forward to next week's episode because then we will reflect on 2025, look forward to 2026, and we will have our New Year's resolutions for 2026 with our teams. With our teams.
absolutely.
So I'm very much looking forward to that. Not the resolution. Very much looking forward to that. But yes, Christmas is in a few days. Can't wait.
Absolutely.
I think that's gonna do it for episode 159, Kyle. Unless you got anything else, I think that's it.
I think that's it for me. One last, just extremely grateful for all of you guys. It's the season where we're appreciative of the things that we have, and let me tell you, I'm appreciative for every single one of you guys. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. We hope that you have an extremely good holiday. Hope you get everything that you want for Christmas. Yeah, Mello, thank you for another phenomenal year, and here's to 26, man.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you have a good week with your family, loved ones, friends. And yeah, we'll see you next week and we will kind of give our Christmas recap a little bit, but most importantly, the final episode of 2025. Crazy. Crazy,
160.
crazy.
That's it.
160, and I will bring up the championship again. So, I look forward to that. So,
I bet you do, man.
yes. All right. We'll see you in a week. Adios.